Hello to all the gals across the country, and to everyone who loves gals. This shopping complex corner was once a sacred spot for gals. Though it's directly connected to Shinsaibashi Station in busy Osaka, this is what it's become. This time, I'll feature the Shinsaibashi OPA shopping complex. Shinsaibashi is a busy downtown area filled with fashion and accessory stores. And OPA is a fashion building. Even though it's a commercial facility serving the city, why did it end up like this? Shinsaibashi OPA, which was once visited by many young people. I'll show you the sad current state of this facility as I walk through it. On Daimatsu's Anywhere Exploration team, we'll continue to bring you lots of videos. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel. I'm now at Shinsaibashi Station on the Osaka Metro Midosuji line. I really love Shinsaibashi. In Osaka, areas like Umeda and Namba are also urban and have everything, so shopping is never a problem. But I think Shinsaibashi is the place where just walking around is fun. I've visited often since high school, so my memories may make it seem even better. Now here's the location of Shinsaibashi OPA that I'll be talking about this time. It's directly connected to Shinsaibashi Station, making it very convenient. OPA is a commercial facility linked to Shin-Kobe Station on the Shinkansen, run by a Daiei Group company. Oriental Park Avenue, which opened in 1988, is the origin of OPA. It's now called Kodonohako Kobe, as shown in a previous video, and has a new operating company. By the way, among all the places I visited so far, it was the emptiest commercial facility I've ever seen. I'll put it in the description, so if you're interested, please check it out. As of January 2025, there are 15 stores nationwide in Japan. Up to now, it has established its position as a fashion building for young people. After Daiei became an Aeon subsidiary, OPA also joined the Aeon Group. That's about it for the overview of OPA. I think there are probably a lot of people who didn't know that OPA is operated by Aeon. Everything is Aeon. It's really amazing. Now then, you can enter directly from the station to the second basement floor. Let's view the building from ground level while I give you an overview of Shinsaibashi OPA. Shinsaibashi OPA's main building opened in 1994. 4 years later, in 1998, the Kureikon building opened behind the main building. Shinsaibashi OPA is actually one of the earliest OPA stores. Soon after opening, it became a GIL hotspot. It led fashion trends until about 2010. It was full of apparel brands, and many people, mainly young women, came to buy clothes. It's now a former Gyaru sacred place. The main building has 2 basement levels and 11 above ground, making it quite tall. It's quite rare for a commercial facility to be this tall. By the way, Kobe's Harborland has a unique commercial facility called Promena Kobe, with all 18 floors devoted to shops. It can't compare. That's a compliment. Kureikon has a basement and 4 above-ground floors. Unlike a regular department store, this is not a facility where fashion accessory shops are gathered. It's a facility mainly focused on beauty salons and clinics. I'll focus mainly on the main building this time. The space in front of the main building's entrance serves as a meeting spot. I think I used to meet up with my friends here too when I was in high school. It brings back memories. Now that we've talked about everything, let's go in from the second basement floor. This floor is a food court, and it's no exaggeration to say that it's the busiest place in OPA. It opened in 2016, and I remember being pretty happy about it because there weren't many food courts in the city at that time. I used Marugame semen a lot. It saved me when I was broke. Even in the food court, a capsule toy section was set up to fill the empty tenant spaces. I'm pretty sure this used to be a crepe shop. Next, let's go to the basement floor. This floor has a lot of apparel and variety stores. I was walking around thinking there weren't many people, but the can-do store in the back was bustling with a lot of people. I discovered an exhibit on this floor, a display celebrating Shinsaibashi OPA's 30th anniversary. It's an event looking back on history together with the Gyaru magazine Egg. As expected, since this place was originally a Gyaru hotspot, it makes sense. May this city always stay colorful. Although since it's closing, it'll only be colorful until next year? I let that slip, but I'll explain in the second half of the video. There's also a photo spot and a message board nearby. That's a great use for vacant tenant space. As expected, the first floor is crowded. Since there are 2 entrances and exits, one on the front and one on the back, to be honest, people also use it as a shortcut, so it's unclear how well the stores are actually doing. Various apparel shops are also on the second floor, and of course there's also a Starbucks here. You can look down at Mitsuji Avenue right in front of this Starbucks. There are counter seats for coffee, which is great. No matter when you go, the seats are always full, but you can pretend to work on your Mac while drinking coffee and actually just surf the net. It's the ideal spot for the pretentious act of looking down at the scenery and people. Come to think of it, there was a special corner for the idol group Osaka 24Q girls in one part of this floor. CDs were being handed out for free, so I took one. Apparently, they're also available on streaming services, so if you're interested, check them out. I'm a fan of idols, so I've been listening to them a lot. Back to the topic, if you look so far. No? Isn't it quite popular? I'm worried people will tell me not to post weird videos, but things get tougher as you go up to higher floors. All right, next, let's head to the third floor. I wondered why it was so crowded, but there's a K-pop idol pop-up event happening, which likely explains it. Calling it a pop-up event sounds nice, but they're really just using an empty tenant space. They're just using it as an event space, that's all. If the tenants were filled, there would be no need to hold events in a place like this. Vacancies are noticeable on this floor, so capsule toy machines were added to fill the space for now. The entire 4th floor is an indoor survival game shop. No, this is just too interesting. I often hear, why not set a survival game in an empty commercial facility? There really is a survival game shop in OPA. It's great to be able to play games in a comfortable environment all year round. The 5th floor houses Kinji, a used clothing store, and another mysterious capsule toy corner. I feel like Kinji used to be in the basement, but it looks like they've moved. The emptiness on this floor highlights the decline of the apparel industry. When I was in high school, I used to wear a lot of vintage clothes, and I remember going to Kinji a lot as I was walking. Next is the 6th floor. This floor was pretty shocking. Next to the photo booth area, there's just empty space. Next to that is ABC Mart, but there are only a few people around. Personally, seeing empty tenants gets me excited, so I'm actually happy about it. When I looked it up, I found out that it's been vacant for a few years and is being used as an event space. Instead of making it an event space, it would be better for a store to move in. From a management view, stable business is preferable, so this feels a bit lonely. I feel like the lonely photo booth sitting there just adds to the sense of desolation. Next, the 7th floor You're not even allowed to enter. This area is also opened up as an event space when events are held, but when I visited for filming, there weren't any events being held. This floor once had a vintage clothing store named Hanjiro. All tenants have left and the floor is now an event space. Perhaps because this floor is entirely an event space, events are held regularly and it's working well. So it doesn't seem like it's in a hopeless situation. There's a record store called His Master's Voice on the 8th floor. His Master's Voice has been a tenant since the opening, and now the entire floor is occupied by His Master's Voice. Well, for those who love it, it's the perfect place. A shop filled with subculture goods like CDs, records, and merchandise feels like a place you could stay forever. The register was crowded too, and personally, I'm curious about what everyone came to buy. The 9th floor is a subculture-themed floor. There were 2 collaboration cafes. There's likely another vacant tenant space in the middle. Apparently, floors 9 and above used to be a restaurant floor. However, now there's no trace of the restaurant floor at all. A Chinese restaurant takes up the entire 10th floor. I visited in the evening when it was empty, but it seems popular. I can't eat Chinese food, but feel free to try it if you want. The 11th floor seems to be a clinic specializing in medical checkups and health examinations. But since I couldn't go up directly from the escalator, I'll skip it. If you're going to eat at Shinsaibashi OPA, it's either Chinese food or the food court. That's easy to understand. The elevator floor had a bubble-like atmosphere like this. It was just too cool. Modern commercial facilities rarely have this design, so seeing it makes me happy. Opened in 1994, it probably still had some remnants of the bubble era. I wish I could have felt that atmosphere. By the time I was born, the bubble had completely burst, so I never got to experience it at all. So that's it for the introduction of the inside of the store. Now let me explain why Shinsaibashi OPA is in this situation. I think many of you noticed while watching the video, but each floor isn't that spacious. That's why they had to build upward, creating 11 floors. Psychologically, it's easier to move on one level, so as buildings get taller, smooth movement becomes harder. OPA's main audience is young people. When it opened, most customers were women in their 20s, and it was even known as a gyaru hotspot. However, more people started buying clothes online, and instead of spending money on clothes, more people began spending their money on experiences like travel and activities. Fashion building's brand power has declined, not just in Shinsaibashi. Now everyone shops at GU Uniqlo or gets cheap, stylish clothes from SHEIN. You don't have to visit a store or spend a lot on clothes anymore. First, due to declining birth rates and an aging population, there are fewer young people. Data shows the number of people in their 20s is now 60% of what it was 30 years ago when OPA opened. It's tough since it overlaps with OPA's target audience. Also, right behind Shinsaibashi OPA, there's Amerikamura, which is known as a fashion district. It's a year-round spot for fashion lovers of all styles. But just like before, compared to 10 years ago, it's lost a lot of its energy for the same reasons. Of course, it's still firmly established as a fashion district even now, but I personally feel like there are fewer unique people around. If that bothers anyone, I apologize. In response to this situation, Shinsaibashi OPA has expanded its target demographic since the late 2010s. They turned the second basement into a food court, keeping some original tenants from the opening. They also added a record specialty store and a trading card specialty shop to his master's voice, reaching out not only to young people but to a wide range of customers. Both the food court and his master's voice were really crowded, weren't they? The renovation was a success, at least for now. However, people didn't go to the other floors. If anything, it feels like the facility's concept became inconsistent, and it ended up just being an ordinary commercial facility. This is just a personal question, but since the food court has affordable places like Marugami Seaman and Burger King, I understand why it's so crowded. As for his master's voice, I'm curious about what everyone comes there to buy. Sometimes only Tower Records is crowded, even when other stores aren't. Even in this digital age, there are still many people there. Let's get back to the main topic. So far, this is common at other commercial facilities too. But next, this issue is specific to Shinsaibashi OPA. First, in 2020, PARCO opened across the street. The building was once the Daimaru Shinsaibashi Store North building and has been fully renovated. Well, PARCO has a higher price range and OPA is a bit lower, but they're both fashion buildings. A strong rival appeared across the street, which made things even tougher for OPA. So, Shinsaibashi OPA will close on January 12, 2026. According to OPA's website, it's because their lease agreement with the building owner is ending. Both the main building and the Kirikan appear to be closing. If it's just due to declining sales, that's one thing. They previously asked the building owner to reduce the rent. They've also had issues with Untitled Chapter Investment Corporation. Meanwhile, Untitled Chapter Investment Corporation was seeking a rent increase. As a result, OPA's request for a rent reduction was approved and the ruling was finalized, but I think this may have caused a rift in their relationship. Also, the rent is reviewed every 3 years, and the next rent review was scheduled for March 2026. The COVID-19 pandemic and other factors may have prevented the parties from reaching another rent agreement. On a personal note, I was curious that the floor connected to the subway is a food court. Food courts attract people regardless of floor, so I thought putting it higher up might improve foot traffic flow. However, I assume there must be a reason for it, so maybe it's not my place to say, since I'm just someone who's visited a lot of empty shopping malls. After OPA closed, people are closely watching what will replace the prime spot linked to Shinsaibashi Station. The building is 30 years old now, so I'm wondering if they'll demolish it. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Well then, see you in the next video.